Welcome back to part 3 of What If Sasuke Killed Sakura After They Sealed Kaguya. Please remember to like and subscribe as it motivates me to make videos in the future, and as always link to the fanfiction is in the description. Ended Anko lemon scene. Last night was amazing Naruto, Anko said with a smile. You made me feel so special. It's because you are special to me Anko. Each of you girls has something special that I love about you. Anko smiled, but it turned to a frown when she looked at herself and Naruto. Come on Gaki, let's wash up, Anko said as she grabbed Naruto's arm and led him into the shower. After cleaning each other up, Naruto and Anko were now in the kitchen. Anko sat at the table and watched as Naruto raced around the kitchen to prepare breakfast. I never saw Konan, where do you think she is? Anko asked as Naruto cracked a few eggs and put some bread in the toaster. Konan-chan is so busy at the academy, that she often sleeps there. She even has a cot set up in one of the storage rooms, Naruto said with a chuckle. I swear Sakura-chan and her work themselves to death sometimes. Yeah, Sakura looks like a zombie sometimes after her shifts, Anko said as a few giggles escaped her lips. I know it worries me sometimes, but I know it makes her happy to save lives, Naruto said as he placed a plate of food in front of Anko. Anko looked at the plate of scrambled eggs and toast. A meal fit for a bachelor, Anko said with a grin. Hey, I may not know how to cook many things, but what I can cook is really good, Naruto said with a pout before he started to eat. Besides, Konan-chan has been doing a lot of the cooking lately. She's actually an amazing cook, Naruto said as his mouth started watering as he thought of Konan's cooking. Anko just rolled her eyes and took a bite of her food. Her eyes widened when she tasted it. They were the best tasting eggs she had ever eaten. Immediately she started to scarf down the food. Seeing this caused Naruto to burst out laughing. Told you I can cook, Naruto said with a grin. After a second helping of eggs, Naruto and Anko sat at the table drinking some tea and making small talk. So what are you gonna do today? Anko asked as she sipped her tea. I don't know. If the girls don't try and jump me, I was gonna go and visit Ino-chan. What about you? I have to go and help Ibiki with a few things, Anko said as she finished the last of her tea. So why do you want to see Ino? Naruto let out a sigh before he started speaking. It's just that out of all you girls, Ino-chan and I have had the roughest past interactions. I know she wants to try and make up for all the times she was mean to me. But I don't want her to feel like she's obligated to love me. I truly love and care for her, and I want to show her that. Anko smiled at Naruto's words. She could tell that he meant everything. He truly did love and care for them all. But before I visit her, there's something I have to tell you, Anko-chan. What is it, Naruto? Anko asked. The seriousness in his voice surprised her. It has to do with the marks on your arm. Anko snuck a glance at the 2 rings on her arm. Yeah, what about them? What I'm about to tell you is pretty big news. Are you ready? Seeing Anko nod, Naruto took a deep breath. Anko-chan, those marks make you one of my mates. It also means that you're probably pregnant. Anko went wide-eyed and her breath hitched. I'm pregnant. More than likely. The same thing happened with Sakura-chan. Kurama said it had to do with my sperm being infused with his chakra, or something like that. That's exactly what it is, you fucking baka, Kurama roared from his cage. Love you too, Kurama. Stupid Gaki, Kurama grumbled as he laid his head down and tried to sleep. Naruto looked and saw Anko's shocked face. So he grabbed her hands and squeezed them lightly. Anko, you're gonna be a mom. Anko started to take quick shallow breaths, but she did have a smile growing on her face. Mom. I'm gonna be a mom, Anko said as tears of joy poured from her eyes. I'm gonna be a mom. Without warning, Anko tackled Naruto and crushed him with a tight hug. Thank you, Naruto, Anko yelled as she peppered kisses all over Naruto's face. I love you. Naruto just laughed at Anko's behavior and returned her embrace. I love you too, Anko-chan. After Anko had calmed down, she sat back down at the table with Naruto. Anko was busy trying to wipe away the last of her tears, while Naruto just smiled at her. Anko-chan, I'm gonna go visit Ino-chan. After you're done with Ibiki, I want you to go find Sakura-chan and tell her the news. Have her examine you and confirm everything, Naruto said as he stood up. Anko nodded, so Naruto gave her a kiss and walked out the door. When Naruto was gone, Anko placed a hand on her stomach and a large smile graced her face. Well, I guess I should get to work. Anko thought as she threw on her trench coat and walked out the door. After about 10 minutes of walking, Naruto stood outside the Yamanaka flower shop. He smiled at the thought of seeing Ino. When he walked into the shop, he saw Ino with her face buried in a magazine, not even paying attention. "Welcome to the Yamanaka flower shop," Ino drawled out in a bored voice, not even looking up from her magazine. "That's not a very good way to greet customers, Ino-chan." Ino's head shot up when she heard Naruto's voice. She saw him standing right in front of her with a massive grin plastered on his face. "Oh hi Naruto-kun," Ino said in a cheery voice as she instantly perked up. Ino was surprised when Naruto leaned across the counter and gave her a long, loving kiss. When they separated, her face was flushed red, and she had a dreamy look in her eyes. What are you doing here, Naruto-kun?" Ino said as she recovered from the kiss. "Well, I wanted to come see you, and I wanted to see if I could help you out around the shop for a bit. You know, some alone time, just between us." Ino's blush deepened when she heard Naruto wanted to spend some time just with her. "Sure Naruto-kun, I would love to spend some time with you. I was just about to go out back, and plant some new seeds," Ino said as she started walking towards the back door. "That sounds great Ino-chan, it's been a while since I've done any gardening," Naruto said with a smile as he followed Ino. Ino handed Naruto a pair of gloves, and told him what seeds to plant and where to plant them. He immediately nodded and got right to work. They made small talk, gossiped, and even cracked jokes while they planted the seeds. Ino was amazed at how different Naruto was when he was gardening. He seemed calmer and much more patient, and he was much quieter. She watched as he diligently and gently planted each seed. She smiled as she watched her boyfriend. It was still a little strange for her to think of him like that. But then her smile turned to a frown, as she thought back to how she used to treat him. She had to make it up to him somehow. She loved Naruto, she realized that fully now, and wanted to do everything in her power to make up for her past sins. Ino was so caught up in her thoughts, that she didn't notice Naruto staring at her. A frown was on his face, as he saw the pain and regret in Ino's eyes. He quietly took off his gloves and walked over to her. By the time Ino noticed Naruto, he was already kneeling in front of her. "Naruto-kun, what a?" Ino was cut off when Naruto cupped her cheek and pressed his lips to hers. His tongue immediately asked for entrance into her mouth. She quickly agreed and parted her lips, allowing Naruto's tongue to dart into her mouth. Naruto's experienced tongue immediately dominated Ino's, so she let him explore her mouth, causing her to moan into the kiss. After what seemed like hours, Naruto broke the kiss, leaving Ino breathless. Naruto quickly grabbed Ino's hand, causing her to look into his eyes. "Ino-chan, I don't want you to feel guilty for what you did to me in the past. I don't want you to feel like you have to make things up to me. Because what's in the past doesn't matter. What matters is that you're here now, and that you love me. You do love me, right?" "Of course I love you Naruto-kun. It's just that I feel like I don't deserve to be with you after all you've done for me, and how I've treated you." Naruto smiled and gave Ino another loving kiss. "Ino-chan, all that matters is what you want. It's not about what you deserve. Hell, I don't deserve to, but with a girl as amazing and beautiful as you. All that I want is for you to be happy. I'll do anything for you girls." Ino's eyes started to water when she heard Naruto's words. He really does love me. I have to show him how much I love him, but how?" Ino thought, but then an idea came to mind. She quickly wiped her tears and grabbed Naruto's hand. "Ino-chan," Naruto asked as she started leading him back out front. "You said you'd do anything to make me happy, right?" "Yeah, of course. Well, the thing that will make me happy right now, is if we go up to my room and make love." Naruto went wide-eyed when he heard this. "Are you sure Ino-chan? There's no going back after this?" "Yes Naruto-kun, I want you to love me, to take all this guilt away." "Alright, anything for my beautiful flower," Naruto said with a smile as he let Ino lead him to her room. Ino Lemon Scene. Fav. Ino was enjoying Naruto's warmth and closeness. But just as she was about to nod off, she heard something that made her turn white. "Haim, are you home? I heard some noises," Inoichi Yamanaka said as he opened the door. Inoichi opened the door expecting to his daughter fussing over her appearance, or maybe reading some family scrolls. But when he opened the door and spotted his daughter, His Harem, naked cuddling up next to an equally naked Naruto Uzumaki, he nearly passed out. Inoichi looked from his daughter to Naruto several times, trying to look only in their faces. His mind finally caught up to what he was seeing and his face turned red in anger. Ino, seeing her father's anger, quickly covered herself with the bed sheets and tried to calm the situation. Now daddy, calm down, there's no need to get upset. No need to get upset. This man took my daughter's innocence, in my own home no less. Inoichi yelled, visibly shaking with anger. Uzumaki, you're a dead man. Inoichi yelled as he glared daggers at Naruto. Naruto looked at Ino and silently asked if he could bolt. Ino shared his gaze and nodded. Just as Inoichi was about to throttle Naruto, he disappeared in a flash of yellow. Huh, that was Hiraishi. When did that little bastard learn that? Inoichi thought as he stared at the empty spot where Naruto had just been. Inoichi turned his gaze to his daughter. She was currently staring at the floor with a massive blush on her face. Care to explain to me what the hell is going on? Inoichi asked, anger still evident in his voice. Ino chuckled nervously as she rubbed the back of her head. Today Inoichi said, getting rather impatient. Ino cringed at the tone of her father's voice. She let out a sigh and looked at her father. Is mom home too? Yes, she is, and she's probably wondering what the hell we're yelling about. Well, get her and wait for me in the living room. I'll get changed and be down in a minute. I have something really important to tell you both. Inoichi gave his daughter a questioning look before he nodded and left the room. Ino took her time getting dressed, as she didn't really want to deal with this now. But she knew it was best to just get this over with. She quickly descended the stairs and spotted her parents sitting on the couch waiting for her. Her father still had a pissed off expression on his face, while her mother looked oblivious to the situation. Taking a deep breath, Ino walked into the living room, and sat in a seat across from her parents. She placed her hand over her mate mark, trying to hide it. Ino, care to explain to me why your father was yelling earlier? Yes, Ino, explain to your mother why I was so upset. Ino took a deep breath and decided to just rip the band-aid right off. I had sex with Naruto Uzumaki. Ino said in a low voice, as she tried to avoid their gaze. Ino's mother went wide-eyed when she heard this. Care to repeat that? I don't think I heard you right, honey. I said I had sex with Naruto. She said a little louder this time. That's what I thought you said, Ino's mother said with a sigh. Ino was surprised that her mother didn't seem upset. I have one question to ask you, young lady. Yes, mother. Ino asked with her head down. Do you love him? When Ino heard this, her head shot up, and she saw her mother smiling at her. Hi, I do love him, Ino said with complete sincerity. And this proves it. Ino finished by removing her hand to show her mate mark. Ino, what is that? Inoichi asked, his eyes narrowing. This daddy is mate mark, given to me by Naruto. This mark shows everyone that I'm his girl. Ino said with a smile as she gazed at the marks with a warm smile. Well, if you truly love this Naruto, I guess it's alright that you're sexually active with him. Dear, you can't honestly be okay with this? Inoichi asked, desperately trying to get his to be as upset as him. Oh hush dear, we were exactly the same. We were having sex a week after we started dating, Ino's mother said with an annoyed tone. As long as they practice safe sex, I don't see what the big deal is. Hearing this made Ino nervous and she started to rub her arm. Well, you see mom, the thing is, Ino said as she started to trail off. Oh no dear, you didn't. That's another thing this mark means. I'm almost guaranteed to get pregnant. Inoichi was now seething again. Does he at least plan to marry you? Hi. Sort of. What does, sort of, mean? Inoichi yelled as he stood up. It means that I won't be the only person marrying Naruto. Ino said calmly, causing his parents to go wide-eyed. What do you mean, dear? Tsunade-sama placed Naruto in a program called the Clan Restoration Act. It allows the last surviving male member of a clan to take on several wives to ensure that his family lives on. What? I'll kill that bastard. Inoichi was about to run out the door when his daughter grabbed his arm. No. Daddy, you will sit the hell down, and chill the fuck out. Watch your mouth, young lady. I'm not a little girl anymore, Dad. I'm 17 years old, and I'm a kunoichi. I'm allowed to make my own damn decisions. I love Naruto, and I want to spend the rest of my life with him, and start a family with him. If that means I have to share him with a few other girls, that's totally fine with me. Plus I know all the girls. It's not like they're complete strangers. Hearing the passion and conviction in Ino's voice surprised both parents. Is that how you truly feel, dear? Ino's mother asked as she walked up and placed her hand on her daughter's shoulder. Hi mother, it is. I love Naruto dearly, he makes me happy and I want to spend my life with him. Ino's mother looked her daughter in the eye and let out a sigh. Then your father and I support you completely, don't we dear? What the hell are you talking? Inoichi tried to argue but his wife stopped him. Don't we dear? Inoichi instantly shrunk down from his wife's harsh gaze. Hi, Inoichi said as his wife smiled at him. Good, she then turned her gaze to Ino. Now dear, this might not be what we envisioned for you. But you're right, you need to make your own decisions. If you truly love Naruto, we give you our blessing to be with him. Ino squealed happily and hugged both her parents. Thank you both, I love you. Anything for you dear. Yeah, whatever. Inoichi grumbled, still a little unhappy with the situation. But when he saw how happy his daughter looked, it brought a smile to his face. I have to go tell Sakura, Ino said as she ran to the door. I'll see you guys later. With that, Ino bolted out the door towards the hospital. 10 minutes later, Konoha Hospital. Sakura was sitting at her desk going through some paperwork. She let out a long sigh, as finished another form. This so boring. I wish I could go see Naruto. She thought as she signed another paper. Just as she finished her signature, she felt a chill run down her spine. She quickly spun around in her chair, but nothing was there. But when she turned back around, she jumped when she saw Anko sitting on the edge of her desk, grinning at her. Anko, you scared me. You're just too easy to sneak up on Pinky. Sakura let out a growl as a vein bulged on her forehead. Don't call me that. Now what do you want? Because I'm extremely busy and I want to see Naruto. The Gaki is actually why I'm here. Hearing this caused Sakura to raise a pink eyebrow. Anko just smirked and shrugged off her trench coat, revealing her mate mark. Sakura was on her feet in a second and inspecting the mark. When did you get this? Last night, me and the Gaki did the deed all night long. I see, I'm guessing Naruto wanted me to inspect you and confirm if you're pregnant or not. You're pretty smart, you know. I know, I get that a lot. Sakura said with a smirk as her hands started to glow. After a few minutes, Sakura finished her inspection. Well, I can't tell 100% for sure. But if this is anything like me, and what Kurama said was true, then it's all but guaranteed that you're pregnant. Is there any way for you to know for sure? Actually yes there is, Sakura said with a grin. She quickly walked to the door and yelled out into the hall. Karen, get in here now. Within seconds the red-haired Kunoichi was standing in Sakura's office. Yes Sakura Shisho, what can I do for you? Sakura smirked at Karen's obedient behavior. Much like Tsunade, Sakura had been brutally training Karen into the ground. Karen now greatly respected and feared her. I need you to try and sense a new chakra signature coming from Anko. I believe she might be pregnant. Karen just nodded before she closed her eyes and concentrated. I do sense something, it's extremely faint though. But there is definitely a new chakra coming from you. So congratulations Anko. Anko squealed and hugged Sakura and Karen. Yes, then I really am gonna be a mom. Anko yelled as she once again started to cry tears of joy. It's an amazing feeling, right? Sakura asked, knowing Anko's feelings firsthand. Yes it is. Anko said with a smile as she placed a hand over her stomach. Just as Anko started to wipe her tears, Ino burst into the room. Oh forehead, I have something to tell you. Ino said in a sing-song voice as she walked up to the desk, completely ignoring Anko and Karen. What is it, pig? Oh what the hell, you too? Sakura, causing Ino to raise an eyebrow. What? Sakura just pointed to the mark on Ino's arm. Oh damn it, forehead. I wanted to surprise you. You always ruin my fun. Ino said as she pouted. Damn, that kid moves fast. Anko said with a smirk. Oh Anko, I didn't even notice you, Ino said with a smile. What do you mean? Anko just showed her shoulder to Ino. The Gaki marked me last night. Ino jumped up and hugged Anko. Yay, we're like sisters now. Anko awkwardly patted Ino on the back. Yeah sure kid, whatever. Ino smiled and released Anko from the hug. When Anko turned to Sakura, a sudden realization hit her. Wait Pinky, it seemed like you'd seen this mark before when I showed you mine. Does that mean Naruto marked you too? Of course he did, how else do you think I got pregnant so fast? I just assumed you two were humping like bunnies, and not being careful. Sakura averted her gaze as her face turned beet red at Anko's comment. When she looked back up, she saw Ino, Anko, and Karen looking at her expectantly. What? Sakura yelled, causing Ino to smile. Well, aren't you gonna show us yours, forehead? Oh, well okay, Sakura said as she pulled up her sleeve. But something about Sakura's mark caught both Ino and Anko's eye. Wait forehead, why does your mark have 3 rings, and ours only have 2? Oh well you see. Sakura started to trail off and mumble. What was that Pinky? I don't think I heard you. I have 3 rings, because Kurama made me the matriarch of Naruto's new family. What? Why you? Ino yelled, causing Sakura to cover her ears. Don't ask me, if you want to know you'll have to talk with Kurama. Sakura said with a smirk. So does that mean we have to listen to what you say, or something? Anko said, not liking the idea at all. No, Kurama said it's mainly a symbolic thing. I don't have any control over you, or the other girls. It's mainly a status symbol, I think. Okay, I guess that's alright, Ino said as she got a gleam in her eyes. But don't think for 1 second, that I won't be Naruto's favorite forehead. Oh you're so on Ino pig. Sakura yelled as they both got in each other's faces, flames in their eyes. Oh would you two just shut up and kiss already? Anko said as she stood to leave. Sakura and Ino instantly shot apart, their faces bright red. As Anko opened the door she stopped and turned back to Sakura and Ino. I wasn't kidding. You two should try experimenting with other girls, it's rather enjoyable, Anko said as she licked her lips. I know, I liked it. With that Anko winked and left the room, leaving the other 3 girls blushing wildly. I have to go Sakura, I'll see you later. Ino said with a made blush as she ran out of the room. Sakura sighed and sat back down in her chair, trying to control her blush. Would it be that bad to at least try? Ino is pretty sexy. Inner Sakura said as she licked her lips. Sakura started to get wet, as images of Ino and her, experimenting, flashed in her mind. Then when she pictured Ino and her with Naruto she had to suppress a moan. No bad girl. Must not think like a pervert. Sakura thought as she chastised herself. You know you want her. Ooh, just the thought of the both of us with Naruto is making me so wet. Inner Sakura said as she reached a hand into her shorts. God, get the fuck out of here you pervert. Sakura yelled as she shut off her connection to her inner. But just before she could cut the connection, her inner self got off one last remark. Just remember that I represent what you truly feel. So don't fuck this up. Inner Sakura stuck out her tongue before she disappeared. Sakura let out a deep breath as her face returned to its normal color. When she looked up she saw Karen still staring at her with a smirk on her face. You may want to clean up. I can smell your arousal from here. Karen. Hearing Sakura yell like that made Karen instantly snap to attention. You don't say a word about this to anyone. If I find out you squealed, it's 2 hours of evasion training. Do I make myself clear? Sakura said in a menacing voice. Karen's face went white when she pictured the torture that was Sakura's evasion training. Hi Shisho. Then get the fuck back to work. Karen was out of the room in a streak of red. When Karen was gone Sakura put her feet up on her desk and let out a happy sigh. I love my job. 20 minutes earlier Naruto's apartment. In a flash of yellow a naked Naruto landed on his bed. He let out breath and ran his hands through his hair. Holy shit, that was close, Naruto thought as he started to get changed. I hope Ino-chan can talk some sense into her father. Naruto walked into the living room to see Konan grading tests. Hey Konan-chan, Naruto said as he leaned in and kissed her on the cheek. Oh hello Naruto, she said with a smile. You grading papers? Yeah, she said with a sigh. We're still kinda undermanned at the academy, so the instructors all have to work overtime. Naruto frowned when he heard this. Please don't overwork yourself Konan-chan, you're starting to worry me a little. Don't worry Naruto, I was planning to take a few days off soon anyway. Oh, okay, that's great. Well, when you take those few days off tell me. You and me will do something, just the 2 of us. Konan smiled warmly at Naruto. I'd love that Naruto. Well, I gotta go do some training. So I'll see you later, and I'll even make dinner tonight. Naruto gave Konan a quick kiss before he stood to leave. I love you, Konan-chan. I love you too, Naruto. Training. Ground 7. Naruto was flashing around Training Ground 7 using his newly mastered Hiraishin. He was currently charging up a Raiden Rasengan. Sparks exploded everywhere when Naruto hit his target. All that was left of the target dummy was a smoldering black crater. From a nearby tree, Tenten was sitting and watching Naruto train. She watched as each of the targets Naruto hit was obliterated. She was starting to get turned on by the sheer display of power. What I wouldn't give to get a piece of that right now. Tenten thought as she licked her lips. She watched as Naruto disappeared in another flash of yellow. She was waiting for the explosion to signal where Naruto was currently. But after 10 seconds nothing happened. Where the hell did he go? Tenten thought as she scanned the trees. She nearly jumped out of her skin when she felt someone wrap their arms around her waist and nibble her ear. Tenten lemon scene. Thank you Naruto-kun, Tenten said as her eyes started to droop. Naruto smiled as he saw the 2 rings on her arm. Welcome to the family, Tenten-chan. I love you. I love you, too Naruto-kun. Tenten mumbled as she fell asleep. Naruto smiled and picked her up. He cleaned her up, and in a flash her landed on top of her apartment. He quickly went in through the window and dropped her off on her bed. He tucked her in, and kissed her forehead. Good night Tenten-chan. With that Naruto vanished again. He had to get home and make dinner for Konan. Naruto walked up the steps to his apartment after dropping Tenten off at her home. Wanting to enjoy the nice night, he decided against using his Hiraishin to get all the way home. On the way to his home several people stopped and thanked him, or offered him gifts. Naruto graciously accepted the thanks and gifts, but it still felt awkward for him to be receiving praise from the very people who used to despise him. Even after defeating his inner hatred, a part of Naruto was still wary of the villagers, waiting for them to turn on him any second. But before any of those thoughts could fester too long, Naruto is reminded of all his precious people. A smile graces his lips as images of all the important people in his life flash in his mind. Naruto let out a happy sigh as all of his girls flashed before his eyes. He envisioned a future where he was Hokage and he had a family with all the girls. He pictured coming home after a long day at work and being tackled by a small army of kids, all happy that their dad was home. Then after greeting all his children he would make time for all his wives, and see how each of their days went. Then they would all sit down for dinner and laugh and joke like the loving family he knew they would be. Yeah, that's the life. Naruto thought happily as he walked into his apartment. As Naruto walked into the kitchen he spotted Konan fast asleep on top of a pile of graded test papers. Naruto smiled as he gently picked Konan up and carried her into the bedroom. She let out a happy sigh and snuggled closer to Naruto as he carried her down the hall. Once in the bedroom he gently placed her down onto the bed. He placed a kiss onto her forehead before he went into the kitchen to make dinner. Sakura was walking home after a long shift at the hospital, and her daily training with Karen. But as Sakura neared her home she was hit with the smell of the nearby Ichiraku ramen stand. She couldn't resist the temptations and started walking towards the stand for a quick bite to eat. Damn it Naruto, your stupid ramen cravings have rubbed off on me. Sakura thought as the stand came into view. I don't think it's all Naruto's fault. Remember we're eating for 2 now. Inner Sakura said with a grin. Yeah, you're probably right. Sakura thought, a warm smile spreading across her face as she placed her hand on her stomach. Sakura lifted the flap and took a seat at the bar. Ah Sakura, Ayame said cheerfully when she saw Sakura walk in. Hello Ayame, how are you? I'm doing fine, but it's a little slow today. But it's always nice to see one of Naruto's girls in here. Sakura thanked Ayame and placed her order. So how's the pregnancy been going so far? Ayame said from the kitchen as she prepared Sakura's order. It's been going great so far. I've been having the usual mood swings and weird cravings, but Naruto and the other girls have been so supportive. Sakura smiled as she thought of how close her and the other girls had become over the past weeks. They were the closest things Sakura had to sisters. Well, since you're eating for 2, this one's on the house. Ayame said as she handed Sakura her order. Sakura smiled and thanked Ayame. She inhaled the ramen's heavenly aroma. Breaking apart her chopsticks, Sakura started to slurp and gorge on the ramen at a speed that would make Naruto jealous. After inhaling the ramen, Sakura slammed the empty bowl on the table with a happy smile on her face. Maybe Naruto did rub off on you. Inner Sakura said with a sweat drop. Sakura decided to ignore her inner self and ordered another bowl, one more couldn't hurt. As Sakura waited for Ayame to make her order, she heard someone enter the stand. She was going to ignore the newcomer. But she was surprised when the person called her name. Sakura. Sakura quickly swiveled around on her stool. She was surprised to see Tamari standing there. But what shocked her was Tamari's appearance. The Suna Kunoichi looked upset, and it looked as if she had been crying. Tamari, what's wrong? Sakura said as she instantly stood up. It's nothing you have to worry about. Tamari said as she slumped down onto a stool. Come on Tamari, talk to me, I'm your friend. Tamari just sighed and looked down at the counter. I'll buy you some ramen. Sakura said, hoping to coax Tamari with the offer of comfort food. Really? Of course. Ayame. Bring another bowl for Tamari. Sakura yelled, earning a quick, sure thing, from Ayame. Now talk. Tamari took a deep breath, but didn't look up from the counter. I broke up with Shikamaru. What? We've just been slowly drifting apart for a while now. What caused this? I loved Shika, I really did. But Kami, he is the laziest, most unmotivated son of a bitch I've ever met. He never wanted to go out and do anything, everything was just so troublesome for him. He'd rather laze around all day instead of going out on a date with me. I practically had to drag him around whenever we went out. A girl can only take that for so long, you know. So eventually I had enough. I confronted him, we had a big fight, and now I'm here. Sakura looked at Tamari with a mix of sadness and pity. Just as Sakura was about to speak up, Ayame placed their orders in front of them. Tamari muttered a quick thank you before she slowly started to eat her ramen. But she was stopped when she heard Sakura slam her empty bowl onto the counter, and let out a content sigh. Ah, that hit the spot. Tamari just looked at Sakura wide-eyed. The only person she knew that could eat like that was Naruto. Whoa Sakura, when did you get an appetite like Naruto's? Well, I guess my big baka rubbed off on me. Sakura said as her cheeks were tinged red. My big baka. Oh, you didn't hear, Sakura said as her cheeks turned a deeper shade of red. Naruto and I are together. Again Tamari went wide-eyed. She thought Sakura always had a thing for Sasuke. What about Sasuke? That was clearly the wrong thing to say. Because Sakura's eye hardened and she clenched her fists. He's dead, Sakura said angrily. And I would appreciate it if you never mentioned that bastard's name again. Sakura said a little more harshly than she intended. Oh okay. Tamari squeaked out. Okay, that is clearly a very taboo subject. Tamari thought as she saw Sakura relaxing slightly. So how have things been going between you and Naruto? Tamari asked, trying to change the subject. Sakura did a complete 180 as a smile spread across her face. Oh, it's been amazing so far. Naruto is such an amazing guy, Sakura said as she let out a dreamy sigh. But you should know I'm not the only one seeing Naruto. Hearing this caused Tamari to quirk a blonde eyebrow. Tsunade-sama placed Naruto in a program called the CRA. This allows Naruto to have several wives to help restore his clans. I was a little hesitant at first, but now I love it. All the girls are like sisters to me, and we've all become so close. Tamari listened to Sakura speak with a twinge of jealousy. She noticed how happy Sakura looked when she talked about Naruto and their relationship. It's something that she wanted. But then Sakura said something that made Tamari's head shoot up. A few of the girls and me are even pregnant, Sakura said as she placed a hand on her stomach. I can't wait to start a family with Naruto. That's what sent Tamari over the edge. She placed her head into her hands as she started to cry. Instantly Sakura was up and wrapping an arm around Tamari. What's wrong, Tamari? Tamari sniffled a few times and looked at Sakura. I want what you have. I want to find a guy who will treat me right. Someone I can love as much as they'd love me. Someone who is fun and loves life. Tamari said as she placed her head back into her hands. Sakura looked at Tamari with a frown. She knew Tamari deserved to be happy, and she knew just the guy to give her that happiness. Well, why don't you give Naruto a try? Tamari's head shot up when she heard that. What did you say? I said why don't you give Naruto a chance, I bet he can make you happy. Plus you'd be part of a loving family. Tamari looked down at her ramen and sighed. I don't know Sakura. Hey, just think about, okay. But let me tell you, Naruto's a great guy, and he'd treat you right. Tamari looked and saw Sakura smiling brightly at her. This caused a small smile to form on Tamari's face. Alright Sakura, I'll think about it. Tamari said as she stood up and hugged Sakura. Just follow your heart, Tamari. Sakura said as she returned the hug. I'll try, Tamari said as she started to tear up again. Well, I've got to get back to Suna. I'll see you soon, Sakura, and I'll think about what you said. With that, Tamari left the stand and headed towards the village gates. Sakura waved goodbye and turned back to sit down. She spotted Tamari's unfinished ramen and her eyes lit up. Well, if she's not gonna finish it. Sakura said as she sat down and started devouring her third bowl of ramen. Naruto had just finished making dinner when he heard a few soft knocks at his door. Quickly turning off the oven, Naruto walked over to the door. When he opened the door, he was surprised to see Hinata standing there. Oh, Hinata-chan, how good to see you. Naruto said as he smiled warmly. Hello Naruto-kun, Hinata said timidly as she lightly shuffled from foot to foot. Well, what can I do for you, Hinata-chan? I was wondering if you wanted to go on a walk with me. I have something I need to talk to you about. Hinata said as her face took on a pink tinge. Sure thing, Hinata-chan, I'll be right back. Naruto walked into the kitchen and wrote a note for Konan in case she woke up while he was gone. Then he grabbed his jacket and walked back to the door. Alright Hinata-chan, let's go, Naruto said as he offered Hinata his hand. Hinata's blush deepened as she grabbed Naruto's hand. They walked down the steps into the night. While they were walking, they talked about various things, but Naruto noticed that Hinata was starting to get very nervous. Eventually they found themselves on top of the Hokage monument. They both sat down and admired the view, which overlooked the entire village. Naruto looked over and noticed that Hinata was nervously rubbing her arm as she kept shooting glances at him. Hinata-chan, what's wrong? Naruto asked as he scooted closer and wrapped an arm around her. Hinata sighed and leaned her head against his. It's just. I'm so sorry, Naruto-kun. Hinata said as she fought off tears. Naruto just looked at Hinata as if she had grown a second head. What could you possibly be sorry for, Hinata-chan? I have not seen you do one bad thing since I've known you. When we were little. I used to follow you around and watch you. I got confidence from seeing you be strong, Hinata said as she choked back a sob. But whenever you really needed someone to care for you, I wasn't there. I was behind a tree or in some alley, just watching you. I never did anything to comfort or help you through your pain. Hinata was now crying openly into Naruto's chest. He just sat there and stroked her long dark hair, trying to soothe her. After a few minutes her sobs died down. Hinata-chan, you don't have to be sorry. All that happened years ago, it's in the past now. But what matters now, is that you're here for me now. Don't dwell on the past, Hinata, because I hate to see you cry. Naruto said as he cupped Hinata's chin. They both stared into each other's eyes. His piercing blue eyes gazed into her pale orbs. Suddenly they were leaning closer, and Naruto captured her lips with his own. It was a slow kiss at first, but it was quickly growing more heated and passionate as the seconds went by. Eventually Hinata found herself straddling Naruto as they kept their passionate lip lock. She was subconsciously grinding against Naruto's growing erection. Hinata was the one to break their kiss as a soft moan escaped her lips. Naruto-kun, I want you to make love to me, Hinata said as she looked into his eyes. Are you sure, Hinata-chan? Yes, I want us to be one at last, Hinata said as she kissed him again. Naruto smiled into the kiss and flipped them over so that now he was on top. He broke the kiss and removed Hinata's jacket as she steadied her shaky hands and unzipped his. Naruto went wide-eyed when he saw Hinata's large breasts straining her shirt. Holy shit, they're almost as big as Bachan's, Naruto thought as he slowly took off Hinata's shirt. Hinata lemon scene. Naruto groaned as the harsh sunlight hit his face. When he tried to lift his arm to block the sunlight, he felt something holding it down. He turned his head to see Hinata still asleep with his arm tightly in her grasp. Naruto's drank in Hinata's nude form, that was until he realized where they were. Oh shit, we're still on top of the Hokage monument, Naruto thought in panic, but then his face turned white as he remembered something else. Fuck. Lee runs through this area on his daily laps around the village. As if on cue, Naruto heard a shout from Lee off in the distance. Yosh, I must keep running to show Guy-sensei that my flames of youth are not burning out. Just as Lee came into sight, Naruto quickly grabbed their clothes, brought Hinata close, and then used his Hiraishin to teleport them to his apartment. With a soft thump, Naruto landed on his couch with Hinata still in his arms. Wow, that was close. Naruto breathed out as he wiped the sweat from his brow with his free hand. When Naruto looked down, he saw that Hinata was still fast asleep. How is she still asleep? Well, after everything we did last night, I shouldn't be too surprised. I'm still sore in places I didn't know I had. Naruto thought as he remembered the exhausting and pleasurable night they both had. After 3.5 hours of non-stop sex, Hinata finally passed out after a particularly powerful orgasm. Naruto silently thanked every deity he could think of as he held Hinata close. He honestly didn't know how much more he could take. I really hope it's not like that every time we have sex. Naruto thought as he carefully dressed Hinata and put on some fresh clothes. After Hinata was dressed, Naruto quickly checked to see if Konan was home. He found her sound asleep right where he left her the previous night. Naruto then went back into his room and picked up Hinata bridal style before he teleported to the Hyuga estates. He snuck past the guards at the gates, then he crept through the halls. When Naruto eventually reached Hinata's room, he silently opened and closed the door. But just as he was about to turn around, a cough made him go stiff. Care to explain to me why you're sneaking into Hinata-sama's room with her asleep in your arms? Naruto slowly turned around to see Neji sitting on the bed glaring at him. Can I please put her down? It will be awkward to talk to you with me holding her. Naruto asked as he started to sweat. Fine, but if you try to run off, I'll paralyze you for life. Neji said in an emotionless tone as he stood up. Naruto quickly walked over and gently placed Hinata in her bed. When Naruto turned around, he saw Neji standing at the door waiting for him. Taking a deep breath, he walked out into the hall with Neji. So I'll ask again, why were you sneaking into Hinata-sama's room with her asleep in your arms? Neji asked in a slightly dangerous tone. Oh, we were up late last night, and she fell asleep at my place. When I woke up, I didn't want to wake her, so I carried her home. Naruto explained as he rubbed the back of his head nervously. What exactly were you doing that kept you up so late? Neji said as his eyes narrowed. Naruto really started to sweat now. Oh man, we were. Naruto, if you don't spit it out, I'll go get Hiyashi-sama, and let me warn you, he can be far less understanding than me. Hearing that drained all the color from Naruto's face. Shit, I might as well tell him. Naruto thought as he took a deep breath. Hinata-chan and I had sex last night. Naruto said as he prepared himself for the worst. Neji's eyes widened for a moment before he took a deep breath. Was Hinata-sama the one to initiate this, or was it you? It was Hinata. We were on top of the Hokage monument. Then she started apologizing for something that wasn't really a problem. Then we started kissing and one thing led to another, and you know the rest. Well, I guess if it was Hinata-sama's wish, I cannot be upset with you. Neji said with a sigh. Really? Yes, Hinata-sama is not a child anymore, and she can make her own decisions. So if she wants to have intercourse with her boyfriend, she can, Neji said calmly before he grabbed Naruto by the collar. But remember what I said. If you hurt Hinata-sama, you'll have to deal with me, Neji said as he released Naruto. Neji then turned and walked down the hall. As soon as Neji was out of sight, Naruto let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Oh my Kami, that was too close. Naruto thought as he silently made his way out of the Hyuga estates. Well, Konan-chan is probably still asleep, as well as the other girls, and Ryuzetsu-chan won't be back from her mission until later. Might as well get some training in. With that thought, Naruto made his way towards the training grounds. Training Ground 7. Naruto entered a clearing in the center of the training grounds. He channeled chakra into his left eye and activated his Rinnegan. Okay, I can make a Rasengan with all 5 basic chakra natures. So let's see if I can combine some of them. Naruto thought as he started to form a Suiten Rasengan. Let's try Hyoten first. Naruto started to put some Futon chakra into the Suiten Rasengan. Slowly the Rasengan started to freeze over, but just before it completely froze over, it exploded. The explosion sent Naruto flying backwards, covered in frost. Okay, put in way too much wind chakra, Naruto said to himself as he stood up and shook the frost out of his hair. Okay, let's try this again. Again Naruto created a Suiden Rasengan, but this time he drastically slowed down the amount of wind chakra he put in at once. The Rasengan started to freeze over, and once it was completely frozen over, Naruto cut off the wind chakra he was pushing into the Rasengan. Naruto gazed at the pure white Rasengan that was slowly spinning in his hand, and completely surrounded by frost. Let's try this thing out. Naruto picked out a training dummy and ran towards it. He slammed the Hyoten Rasengan into the dummy. The spot where the Rasengan hit immediately started to freeze over. Then the ice started to spread until eventually the whole dummy was encased in a block of ice. Wow, that is awesome, Naruto said as he marveled at the frozen over dummy. Okay, next let's try Ranten. Naruto formed a Raiden Rasengan, the ball of lightning tingling his hand with small jolts of electricity. Okay, now the tricky part, Naruto said as he started to pump wind chakra into the Rasengan. But after almost a minute nothing changed. What gives? Naruto yelled as he pumped a large amount of wind chakra into the Rasengan. Suddenly the Rasengan transformed into a miniature storm cloud. No way. I guess the problem was, I wasn't putting in enough wind chakra. Naruto said as the watched the pitch black Rasengan rapidly spin in his hand, giving off random jolt of lightning every few seconds. He was literally holding a storm cloud in his hand. Naruto then turned his gaze to another training dummy, and a wicked grin spread across his face. He charged forward and thrust the Ranten Rasengan into the dummy's chest. At first it seemed like a normal Rasengan, the dummy was sent flying backwards. But after a few seconds the Rasengan exploded, encasing the dummy in a storm cloud. It wasn't the sight of the storm cloud that caught Naruto off guard. It was the sound. It sounded as if Naruto was standing in the middle of a full-blown thunderstorm. Naruto had to cover his ears from the sheer volume. When the cloud finally dissipated, the dummy was a charred mess. As Naruto approached the dummy, he could feel the electricity still lingering in the air. Kami, that is one scary jutsu. That's easily one of my powerful jutsu, Naruto said as he scratched his head. What next? What about? Shoten. The only nature I know that goes into Shoten is Doden. Well, let's start there and add elements and see what happens. Naruto formed a Doden Rasengan. The Rasengan looked like a spinning ball of dirt in Naruto's hand. Okay, let's try Suiden first. Naruto pushed water chakra into the Rasengan, but it turned to mud and fell apart. That's not gonna work, so how about Futon? Again Naruto formed a Doden Rasengan, but this time he pushed wind chakra into it. The Rasengan started to spin rapidly before it exploded and showered Naruto in dirt. Okay, definitely not wind. Let's try Kaden. Naruto quickly formed another Rasengan. This time, however, when he started to add fire chakra, the Rasengan started to crystallize. After a few more seconds of pumping chakra, a new pink crystalline Rasengan was spinning in Naruto's hand. Whoa! Naruto exclaimed as he marveled at the beautiful pink sphere spinning in his palm. Let's try this one out. Naruto picked out a dummy and slammed the Shoten Rasengan into the dummy's chest. Much like the Hyoten Rasengan, the Shoten Rasengan encased the dummy in a chunk of solid pink crystal. Just like Gurren, I could use this to capture and transport people, Naruto thought as he swiftly kicked the crystal, causing it to shatter to pieces. What next? I can already use Yoden and Jiden fairly well thanks to Son Goku and Shukaku's chakra. So all that leaves is Mokuten. I wonder how this is gonna turn out. Naruto formed another Doden Rasengan. Okay, I gotta find the right amount of water chakra to put into the jutsu or it will just turn to mud again. After over a dozen failed attempts, Naruto still hadn't found the right amount of water chakra to put into the Rasengan. Again he formed another Doden Rasengan, but every time Naruto put water chakra into the Rasengan it fell apart into a pile of mud. Damn it! Naruto yelled as yet another failed Rasengan fell apart. Why isn't this working? Naruto let out an exasperated sigh as he took a seat on the ground. He was panting slightly from the amount of chakra he had been using. As Naruto sat on the ground, a thought came to his mind. Alright, let's try this again, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Suddenly the field was flooded with hundreds of Naruto clones. Alright, we're trying to make a Mokuten Rasengan. But I can't find the right balance of earth and water chakra. So I figured if we all tried different variations that it'd make this whole process a lot quicker. You guys know what to do, so let's get to work. Every clone nodded and started making their own Rasengans. After almost an hour of failed attempts, Naruto heard one of his clones yell out. "I got it. Holy shit, I finally got it." Naruto scrambled over to the clone who had yelled out, but when he found the clone, what he saw didn't impress him. "Are you sure that's it? It still looks like a ball of mud." The real Naruto said to the clone. "Yes, you baka, just watch it for a second," the clone said. As Naruto watched the Rasengan spin, he was surprised to see bits of green appear every now and then. I think you're right. We did it. We finally did it," Naruto yelled, causing all the clones to let out a cheer. "So how did you do it?" Naruto asked the clone. The clone looked nervous as he answered the question. I just started with Suiden Rasengan instead of a Doden one. And I put Earth Chakra into the Suiden Rasengan." The real Naruto's eye twitched when he heard this. "Are you kidding me?" Naruto yelled as he fell to the ground. It was as simple as that. Why am I so stupid? I wasted so much time for something so simple." After a couple more minutes of yelling with plenty of cussing, Naruto dispelled his clones and made a Mokuden Rasengan. Son of a bitch, it was that simple. Naruto yelled as he rammed the Rasengan into a target dummy. But this utter disappointment, nothing different happened. The target was just sent flying back from the force of the jutsu, much like a regular Rasengan. "Oh, what the hell? It doesn't even do anything cool." Naruto whined as he formed another Mokuden Rasengan. "Aw, stupid jutsu," Naruto yelled as he slammed the Rasengan into the ground. But to Naruto's surprise, the ground started to shake. "Holy shit," Naruto exclaimed as trees started to sprout out of the ground all around him. Naruto had created a miniature forest surrounding himself. Okay, it's not really an offensive Rasengan. Don't know when I'll ever need to create a mini forest, but hey, at least I got this thing down. Just before Naruto could start walking of the training grounds, he heard someone clapping behind him. "Very impressive, Naruto. I see your skills with a Rinnegan have improved greatly." Naruto spun around and saw Konan standing behind him. "Konan-chan, it's so good to see you," Naruto said as he hugged her, which she immediately returned. "How long have you been watching?" "Oh, for a while. I came along right around when you first started. You must have been too focused and not sensed me watching you." "So what are you doing here? I thought you were working at the academy today," Naruto said as he released Konan from the hug. "Well, I took those few days off like you said," Konan explained as her eyes were suddenly filled with lust. "And I was hoping we could spend that alone time together," she said as she rubbed Naruto's chest. "I see what you mean," Naruto said with a grin. "Well, let's head somewhere a little more comfortable." 2 hours later, Naruto laid in his bed, clutching Konan's nude form to his chest as she slept. He was staring at the ceiling trying to catch some sleep himself. But just before he could nod off, he heard a knock at his. Naruto gently got out of bed and quickly put on some clothes. He opened the door and was surprised to see Shikamaru standing there. "Shikamaru?" Naruto asked as the pineapple-haired boy walked past him and took a seat on his couch. "Sure, come in. Sue, what's up?" Naruto asked as he took a seat across from Shikamaru. "Tamari and I broke up," Shikamaru said as he buried his head in his hands. What happened?" "We had a really bad fight last night. We both said some really awful things, and she called things off between us. She kept saying how I was too lazy, and never wanted to do anything," Shikamaru said as he rubbed his eyes. "I guess I can't be too mad at her. She did have a point. We rarely went out, and every time we did I wasn't the most enthused person around. So I can't blame her for getting upset. Shit man, I'm sorry. I really thought you two had a good thing going," Naruto said, trying to console his friend. But before Naruto could continue, Shikamaru cut him off. "But that's not the main reason I'm here." "Huh, then why are you here?" "Yesterday after Tamari and I had our fight, I went for a walk to blow off some steam. But when I was walking I passed Ichiraku. Inside I heard Sakura and Tamari talking," Shikamaru said, causing Naruto's eyes to widen. Tamari was really upset, and Sakura calmed her down. But as they talked, Sakura tried to convince Tamari to give you a chance. "Listen, Shikamaru, if you want me to stay away from Tamari I will." Naruto was stopped when Shikamaru held up his hand. "No. If Tamari wants to give you a chance, then that's her decision. But if you do end up together, just please take good care of her. I still love Tamari and I want her to be happy, and I seriously believe she'll be happiest with you." So please just treat her right. Naruto stood up and hugged Shikamaru. Of course man, I'll treat her like a queen. Naruto said as he patted Shikamaru on the back. Thanks Naruto. Shikamaru said as a few tears escaped his eyes. Quickly wiping the tears away, Shikamaru broke the hug and walked to the door. Well, I have to report to Hokage-sama. Oh well, tell Kakashi-sensei I said hi. Sure, and just remember what I said, take good care of her. Of course Shikamaru, I'll see you soon. Shikamaru smiled and with a wave he walked out the door. When the door closed, Naruto sighed and sat back down on the couch. He turned his head and looked at the clock on the wall. Ryuzetsu should be back from her mission soon. Might as well head to the gates and wait for her. Naruto stood up and wrote a note for Konan, then left for the main gates. 1 hour later, Naruto was sitting on a rooftop that was adjacent to the front gates. He drummed his finger on the rooftop as he waited for Ryuzetsu. Suddenly 3 figures walked through the front gates. Naruto quickly noticed that it was Ryuzetsu and her team. Ryuzetsu turned and said something to her teammates, then Ryuzetsu's teammates quickly dispersed in opposite directions, leaving Ryuzetsu alone. Seeing that she was finally alone, Naruto jumped down to greet her. Ryuzetsu sighed as she watched her teammates run off. Kami, that was such a boring mission. Absolutely nothing happened, Ryuzetsu thought as she started walking towards Naruto's apartment. I just want to get home and see. Ryuzetsu's thoughts were interrupted when she saw Naruto land in front of her. Instantly her eyes lit up, as she, the man she loved, smiled at her. Ryuzetsu-chan, it's so good to have you home. Naruto said as Ryuzetsu ran forward and pulled Naruto into a passionate kiss. Kami, I missed you so much. Ryuzetsu said as she hugged Naruto. Well, come on, let's head home. Naruto wrapped his arm around Ryuzetsu's waist and walked her towards his apartment. After a brisk walk, Naruto and Ryuzetsu arrived back at his home. Konan-chan, we're back. Naruto yelled, but he received no reply. He walked into the kitchen and spotted a note on the table. He picked up the letter and noticed it was Konan's handwriting. Dear Naruto, Sakura came by and she said she needed to speak with me. So that's where I am, I'll be home later. P.S. Tell Ryuzetsu I said hi. Love, Konan. Well, I guess Konan won't be back for a while. So what do you want to do, Ryuzetsu? Naruto turned around and was immediately pulled into a fiery kiss. The kiss intensified and Naruto's tongue met Ryuzetsu's. Naruto was surprised when he felt Ryuzetsu start to grind against his thigh. Suddenly Ryuzetsu broke the kiss and he looked into her pale rippled eyes. While we were on our mission, I had a lot of free time. A lot of time to do some fantasizing, Ryuzetsu said, rubbed his muscles through his shirt. Kami, Naruto, I want you so bad right now. Naruto grinned as he picked her up, causing her to let out a surprised eep. Well, you have me, Naruto said as he quickly brought them into his bedroom. Ryuzetsu lemon scene. Naruto sat awake in his bed as the early morning sunlight streamed in through the window. As he sat there, he clutched Konan and Ryuzetsu close to his body as they both slept. Sometime during the night, Konan had crept into the bedroom and joined Ryuzetsu and him as they slept. Naruto looked at both women and smiled when his gaze landed on the rings on their arms. He clutched them closer to his body as he stared out the window. As he stared out the window, he thought about how his life was going to change in less than a year. He could already picture his family, a big new home, and hopefully he'd finally achieve his dream of becoming Hokage. Naruto was shaken from his thoughts when he heard soft knocking at his door. He quietly got out of bed, gently laying Konan and Ryuzetsu back down onto the bed. Quickly throwing on a shirt, he made his way over to the door. His eyes lit up when he saw his first love, Sakura, standing in the doorway. Sakura-chan, good morning, Naruto said excitedly as he leaned forward and gave Sakura a long good morning kiss. When they broke the kiss, Sakura had a slightly dazed look. She shook her head and regained her composure. Good morning Naruto, I came to get Konan, Ryuzetsu, and you. Sakura said, still a little dazed from the kiss. Ah, come on Sakura-chan, it's so early. Naruto whined before a grin spread across his face. Why don't you come back to bed with me? Sakura immediately became flustered, and was seriously considering taking Naruto up on his offer. But she shook her head again, wiping her mind of her perverted thoughts. No, as tempting that offer is, Tsunade Shisho wants to do a checkup on me and the other girls, So you're coming too, Sakura said sternly as she cracked her knuckles. Or do I have to drag you there by your ear? No ma'am, Naruto said as he ran back to his room to wake Konan and Ryuzetsu. After some coaxing they were both out of bed and dressed. As they walked towards the hospital, Konan and Ryuzetsu kept mumbling about how sore they were and that they couldn't keep up with Naruto's stamina. During the walk Naruto noticed several men blatantly ogling Sakura, Konan, and Ryuzetsu. Naruto quickly growled at them and shot them a glare that promised a slow and painful death if they continued to stare at his girls. The men quickly averted their gaze, trying to stop their knees from shaking. Sakura giggled at Naruto's possessive behavior, but she also found it extremely alluring. After that incident the rest of the walk towards the hospital was relatively quiet. Sakura led them through the hospital's sterile white halls. All the nurses and doctors would greet her and show her great respect. Eventually they reached a room near the end of the hospital. Opening the door Naruto spotted the rest of his girls along with Tsunade, Shizune, Karen, and Kakashi. Morning everyone, Naruto said as he gave each of his girls a kiss. Good to see you Gaki. Tsunade said as she pulled Naruto into a hug, smothering him in her massive breasts. Morning Naruto-kun, Shizune chirped as she gave Naruto a quick hug. Hey you knucklehead, Karen said as she gave Naruto a tight hug. Good morning Naruto, Kakashi said as Naruto shook his former sensei's hand, trying to show a little more respect than usual. So why'd you call us all here Bachan? Naruto asked as he took a seat next to his girls. Well I want to do a checkup on the girls, plus it will be good practice for Karen. So I'll need you girls to come up one by one, Karen, and I'll give you a checkup. So who's going first? Karen said cheerfully, wanting to see how much her training had paid off. I'll go, Tenten said as she walked up. Karen's hands started to glow green as she inspected Tenten's body. Okay, the baby seems healthy, and is growing normally, Karen said as she stepped back allowing Tsunade to step forward. Tsunade's hands started to glow green as she started her inspection. Good Karen, you're correct, and you didn't miss a thing, Tsunade said, causing Karen's eyes to light up from the Sanin's praise. Next Anko and Ino came up and got the similar reports. When Konan and Ryuzetsu came up Karen just sensed for the new chakra signatures instead of performing an inspection. She quickly confirmed that both women were indeed pregnant, leading both of them to hug Naruto in sheer joy. Hinata was the next up, and when Karen started her inspection her brow furrowed. Tsunade-sama, can you check this for a second? Karen said as she stepped back to allow Tsunade to step forward. Tsunade came forward and started her inspection on Hinata. After a few moments Tsunade's eyes widened before she looked Hinata in the eyes. Congratulations Hinata, it appears you're going to have twins. Twins, Hinata stuttered out before she fainted. Luckily Naruto caught her and set her down on a chair. Are you 100% sure about that Shisho? Sakura asked, slightly jealous that Hinata was going to have twins. Yes Sakura, I'm sure, Hinata is going to have twins. Well, that sure was a surprise, Naruto said as he held Hinata's hand. Okay Sakura, you're up, Karen said, motioning Sakura forward. When Sakura walked forward, Karen started her inspection. Again after a few moments Karen's eyes widened. Tsunade-sama, I need you to check this one too. Sakura got excited when she heard this. Was she going to have twins too? Tsunade stepped forward and started examining her student. Moments later Tsunade started chuckling. I don't believe it, Tsunade said as she pulled her apprentice into a hug. Shisho, what's going on? Sakura said as Tsunade let her go. What's going on Sakura, is that you're going to have triplets? This caused everyone's eyes to widen. Triplets, Sakura breathed out before she too passed out. Again Naruto caught her and gently set her down on another chair. Well, congratulations Gaki, you've got 10 kids heading your way. Hearing this caused Naruto's face to light up. Yada, Naruto yelled as he bounced around the room. He hugged everyone in the room except Sakura and Hinata, who were still passed out. After a few more minutes of giddy excitement Naruto calmed down, and Kakashi walked up to him. Congratulations Naruto, but I need you to meet me in my office in an hour. I have an important mission for you. With that Kakashi patted his student on the shoulder and walked out of the room. Well, if we're all done here I'm heading off, see you soon Naruto. Come along Shizune, Tsunade said as she walked out of the room. Goodbye Naruto-kun and congratulations. Shizune said as hugged Naruto one more time before she hurried after her master. Well Naruto, I have to get back to work, we'll have to get together sometime. Karen said as she kissed Naruto on the cheek before she left the room. Naruto waved to Karen then turned around to see the rest of his girls smiling at him, even Sakura and Hinata who had just woken up. I love all you girls. We love you too, all the girls said as they crushed Naruto in a group hug. I want all of you to head home and rest up, Naruto said as the girls released him from the hug. Naruto were. Tenten tried to argue but Naruto stopped her. Tenten, I'm the head of this family, and what I say goes, Naruto said sternly before his face softened. I just want your pregnancies to go as smoothly as possible. So please just go home and rest for a bit, we can all get together later. Okay Naruto. Tenten said as Naruto kissed her cheek. I'll see you girls later, Naruto said, before he walked out of the room. Sakura turned around to see all the other girls staring at her. All right, you heard him. Head home and get some rest, Sakura said as all the girls left the room. 1 hour later, Hokage's office. Kakashi sighed as he signed another document. He'd only been Hokage a few weeks, and he already understood why Tsunade hated the job. Sure, he was honored to have the position, but it was an extremely stressful and boring job sometimes. Whether it be dealing with this damned paperwork, or listening to the civilians whining. The job could just be a major pain in the ass. He barely even had time to read anymore. His Ika books were collecting dust in his desk, and it killed him not being able to read his favorite books. Just as Kakashi was about to sign another document, a few knock came from his door. That must be Naruto now, Kakashi thought as he pushed the paperwork off to the side. Come in. The door opened and Naruto entered the room. Ah Naruto, you're here on time, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Well, I'm not like you Kakashi-sensei, showing up late to everything, Naruto said as he stopped in front of Kakashi's desk. Even when I'm Hokage, he still shows little respect, Kakashi thought as he sweat dropped. So what mission do you have for me, sensei? Well, this mission will be the start of your Hokage training, Kakashi said, making Naruto perk up. The main reason you weren't selected to be Hokage is that you're young and inexperienced. You need to work on your political skills. You have a way with words, Naruto, and you could inspire anybody to follow your lead. But your brash behavior could anger some officials and cause a problem. So I'll be having you travel to each of the major shinobi villages to see how they're handling the Biju. Basically, you'll meet each of the village leaders, and check up on the village's condition. That sounds awesome, sensei. I get to travel around and see all the villages, Naruto said as excitement built inside him. Naruto, this isn't a vacation. This is a serious mission, and the start of your Hokage training. This mission will prove if you have the ability to work with other leaders and villages, and not cause an international crisis. This sobered Naruto very quickly. Alright sensei, I understand, I'll take this mission seriously. Good, now on this mission I'll allow you to take a team of your choosing. But I know you'll just pick your girls, so I'll allow you to take them along with you. But I'll probably send a few extra men with you just to be safe. This mission should only take a couple months at most. So you should be back before their pregnancies can hinder their shinobi abilities. Arigato sensei, Naruto said with a foxy grin. Also Naruto, while you're away I'll have a new home built for you and the girls. It should be completed before you get back. Really? Of course, I can't have you and your girls all crammed into your small apartment, Kakashi said with another eye smile. Thank you sensei, Naruto said as he reached across the desk and hugged Kakashi. Suddenly Naruto felt the cold steel of a kunai pressed up against his neck, as an Anbu guard stood behind him. Naruto started sweating profusely as the kunai dug into his neck. Back off, it's alright, Kakashi said, and the Anbu guard quickly shushined back to his position. Oh okay, not doing that again, Naruto said as he rubbed the spot on his neck where the kunai had been. Well Naruto, you better tell your girls then get packing. Wait, before I go, there's something I've been wanting to try, Naruto said as he channeled chakra into his Rinnegan. I've been training with my Rinnegan extensively recently, and I've wanted to try and bring a few people back to life. Naruto, what are? Kakashi was stopped when Naruto started weaving hand signs. Rinne Tensai no Jutsu. Naruto suddenly found himself back in the black void he was in the last time he used the jutsu. As Naruto walked through the void, he was having trouble finding the people he was looking for. Suddenly off in the distance he spotted some of the people he was seeking. He walked over to the group that consisted of the 7 deceased Jinchuriki. Quickly he walked up to each one of them and tapped them on the shoulder, sending them back to the real world, hopefully near their villages. After saving the dead Jinchuriki, Naruto continued walking. He spotted another one his targets. He spotted Itachi Uchiha speaking with another man who also had the Uchiha logo on the back of his shirt. The two were laughing as if they were old friends, so when Naruto brought Itachi back to life he also saved his friend. As Naruto continued on he spotted a small campfire. He walked over and saw Asuma and the Sandaime Hokage sitting around the fire talking. A few tears sprang to Naruto's eyes as he spotted the man he saw as his grandfather. Then he turned to Asuma and his gaze softened. I have to bring him back. He has to be there to help Kurenai-sensei raise their child. Naruto thought as he walked over to Asuma and tapped him on the shoulder. I just wish I could be there to help her. Asuma said as he took a long drag from his cigarette. I know, son, but Kurenai is a strong woman, she can handle it. I know, it's just that. Asuma stopped as his body started to glow. What the hell is going on? It looks like you're being called back, my son. Hiruzen said as he inhaled from his pipe. Looks like you might get to see your child after all. I swear if this is a reanimation again, I'll kick the jutsu caster's ass. Asuma said as he faded away. I don't think that was a reanimation. I bet you had something to do with this, Naruto-kun. Hiruzen thought with a smile as he stared into the fire. Naruto gazed at the Sandaime one last time before he continued his trek. As Naruto walked he spotted another person he was looking for. Around another campfire he spotted Obito Uchiha cuddling with a brown-haired girl as they sat near the fire. When Naruto got closer he noticed that the girl was very beautiful. She appeared to be in her late 20s with brown hair that went to her shoulders, brown eyes, and purple rectangles on her face. Ah, that must be Rin. Naruto thought as he watched the pair for a moment. The two seemed to be having a conversation as they stared into the flames. Suddenly Rin burst out into a fit of giggles. Naruto smiled as he watched the pair. They reminded him of how the girls and him acted. Naruto walked up to the couple and tapped them on the shoulder. He watched as they faded away in each other's arms. When Obito and Rin were gone Naruto continued his search. Alright Ero Sennin, where are you? Naruto thought as he searched for his godfather. Suddenly Naruto spotted the man in question off in the distance. When he got closer he saw that Jiraiya was giggling and frantically writing in a small notebook. Naruto then noticed that Jiraiya was staring into a mist-like substance in front of him. On closer inspection Naruto noticed that the mist was filled with images of naked women in hot springs. Kami Ero Sennin, even in death you're a giant fucking perv. Naruto as he walked over to his godfather. Just as Naruto was about to tap Jiraiya he spotted something in the mist that nearly made him vomit. What the fuck? Is that my mom and dad? Ah, my eyes. Naruto thought as he averted his eyes before the images were burned into his mind. When Naruto looked at Jiraiya, the old pervert was scribbling in his notebook with a thin line of blood running from his nose. Ah, what the hell? That's your student Ero Sennin. Naruto thought as he slapped Jiraiya across the face instead of tapping him on the shoulder. Jiraiya started to fade away. When Naruto turned around he saw that the mist was empty. He shivered as he tried to erase the images from his mind. Get me the hell out of here. Naruto thought as he cancelled the jutsu. Kakashi was starting to get worried, but he calmed down as Naruto slowly opened his eyes. So what happened? Kakashi asked just as the room was filled with a blinding light. When the light died down 6 new figures stood in the room. Each of them had a look of utter confusion on their face. What, how am I alive? Obito said as he looked around the room. Oh Obito. Rin. Kakashi said as he slowly stood up from his seat. Kakashi. Obito said as he stared at his friend. Then Obito turned his gaze and he saw Rin standing right next to him. We're alive, Rin whispered as she looked at Obito. Suddenly Rin and Obito felt Kakashi pull them into a crushing hug. Rin felt a few tears hit the back of her shirt. Rin, Obito, I'm so happy you're alive, Kakashi said as he tightly held his teammates. Kakashi then turned his gaze to Naruto who was watching them as he panted slightly. Thank you Naruto, Kakashi said as all eyes turned to Naruto. Gaki, Jiraiya said as he spun around to see his student standing behind him. Hey Ero Sennin, Naruto said with a grin as he tried to catch his breath. Oh and Arrow Sennin, you're fucked up. Don't let me see you do anything like that again. Jiraiya raised an eyebrow when he heard this. I saw what you were looking at in the mist. Naruto said with frown. Jiraiya started to sweat when he heard this. Don't worry, I'm not mad, I'm just a little weirded out. I suggest you go find Bachan, Arrow Sennin, she'll want to see you the most. Jiraiya nodded and walked towards the window. Kakashi, I'll speak with you later. Jiraiya said as he jumped out the window in search of Tsunade. So it was you who brought me back to life. Asuma said as he pulled out a cigarette, but when he went to light it he couldn't find his lighter. Right, I gave it to Shikamaru. Of course I brought you back, Asuma-sensei. I couldn't let Kurenai-sensei raise that kid on her own. Asuma's eyes widened when he heard this. Go find her, Asuma, I'll send Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji over in a bit. Asuma flashed Naruto a quick smile before he ran out the office to find Kurenai. Naruto then turned to see Itachi and the other mystery man staring at him. So this is the Naruto you were talking about. The man said. Yes, this is Naruto-kun. Excuse me, but who are you? Naruto said as he gestured to the mystery person. Oh, I'm Shisui Uchiha. The newly named Shisui said with a smile. You're Shisui. Naruto-kun, why did you bring Shisui and I back to life? Well, I brought you back to life, because this village deserves to know the truth behind the Uchiha massacre. Plus I felt you deserved a second chance, Naruto said before he gestured to Shisui. And I brought him back, because I saw you talking with him. So I figured you were close friends and I didn't want you to come back without any family. Okay, that's understandable, Itachi said as he closed his eyes. So what happened with Sasuke-kun? Naruto sighed before he took a deep breath. I'm sorry Itachi, I had to kill Sasuke. Naruto watched as Itachi's eyes widened for a moment before he regained his composure. He was planning to kill the Biju, all the Kage, and me. Then the worst thing was, he killed my teammate Sakura, the girl I love. After that I had no remorse for him. I chased him down and I killed him. I'm sorry Itachi, I failed. You. Naruto was on the verge of tears, but he stopped when he felt an hand on his shoulder. He opened his eyes to see Itachi looking at him. Don't be upset Naruto-kun, you didn't fail. Sasuke-kun was beyond saving, with his death you freed him from his darkness. Thanks Itachi, Naruto said as he looked at the last two Uchiha. Well, I have to get going, so I'll leave you with Kakashi-sensei, I mean Hokage-sama. See you soon Itachi, Shisui. Naruto then walked out the door in search of Team 10. As Naruto walked out of the tower he could hear Obito's yell from the street. What do you mean this bastard is Hokage? Naruto used his Hiraishin to teleport around the village. He first told each of his girls about their mission and that they needed to pack. The last girl he needed to tell was Ino. He teleported right in front of the Yamanaka flower shop and walked in the door. He saw Ino rearranging some flowers as he walked into the shop. Ino nearly jumped out of her skin when she felt a pair of arms around her waist. She whipped her head around to see Naruto resting his head on her shoulder. Oh Naruto-kun, you startled me. Ino said as she gave her boyfriend a quick kiss. Why are you here? Well Ino-chan, Kakashi-sensei gave me a mission as a part of my Hokage training. I'm to travel to each of the major shinobi villages to check up on their current situation. And Kakashi is allowing me to bring you girls along with me. Ino's eyes lit up at the prospect of traveling with Naruto and the other girls. So I need you to pack and get ready, Naruto said as he released Ino from his grasp. But before you do, head over to Kurenai-sensei's house. What? Why? Ino said in a confused tone. Just trust me Ino-chan, you'll be in for a surprise when you get there. Naruto said cryptically before he teleported out of the shop to get the remaining members of Team 10. Kurenai had just set her daughter down for a nap when she heard a few knocks at her door. But as she neared the door a familiar scent hit her nose. Cigarette smoke, it's probably Shikamaru. Kurenai thought as she opened the door. Shikamaru, what can I do? Kurenai stopped dead when she saw Wen, who was standing in her doorway. Asuma. Yeah Kurenai, it's me. How are you alive? I saw your body, you were dead. You can thank Naruto. He's the one who brought me back. Asuma said as Kurenai pulled him into a hug, tears streaming down her face. I can't believe you're back. Kurenai said as she cried into Asuma's shoulder. Yeah, I'm back, and I'm not going anywhere this time. Asuma said as he held Kurenai closer. Then from the other room Asuma heard a shrill cry. Is that? Asuma said as he looked past Kurenai towards where the cries were coming from. Kurenai nodded her head in response. See, can I see her? Of course she's your daughter after all. Kurenai said as she led Asuma to where their daughter was lying down. Asuma quickly put out his cigarette before he followed Kurenai. When they arrived in the room, Asuma looked down at the crying child. He turned to Kurenai and she nodded, so he gently picked up his daughter and cradled her in his arms. Instantly the girl stopped crying as Asuma slowly rocked her back and forth. She's beautiful, Asuma said as he looked down at his child, who had fallen back asleep. Yeah, she is, Kurenai said as she wrapped her arms around Asuma's waist. As Kurenai and Asuma stood in each other's embrace, a few knocks came from the door. I'll get it, you should spend some more time with your daughter. Kurenai said as she planted a quick kiss on Asuma's cheek before she walked towards the door. Ino had just arrived at Kurenai's home when she spotted Shikamaru and Choji already standing outside the door. Hey Shika, Choji, Ino said happy to see her teammates. What are you two doing here? Naruto told me to come here. He said it was really important. Choji said as he ate a handful of chips. Same here, and he woke me from my nap, so this better be really important. Shikamaru replied as he stifled a yawn. Well, knock on the door, you lazy ass. This is so troublesome. Shikamaru said as he raised his arm and lazily knocked on the door. After a few moments Kurenai answered the door with a big smile on her face. When she saw Team 10 standing there her eyes widened. Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, get in here now. Kurenai said as she dragged all three of them into her home. Kurenai-sensei, what's the big deal? Ino asked as Kurenai continued to drag them through her home. She stopped dragging them outside a closed door. Open the door. Shikamaru reached out and opened the door slowly. The members of Team 10 spotted a lone figure standing in the room. When the person turned around they all gasped. Hey you three, Asuma said with a big smile. Ino hesitantly walked forward and touched Asuma on the shoulder. You are real, Ino yelled out as she hugged Asuma. Asuma let Ino hug him as he looked at the two remaining members of Team 10. Choji had dropped his bag of chips and was stuttering incoherently as he fought back tears. Wah, how, why? Then Shikamaru spoke up. It was Naruto, wasn't it? You're as smart as ever, Shikamaru. Asuma said as he grinned at his student. Shikamaru walked up to Asuma and pulled out his lighter. I believe this is yours. Asuma looked at the lighter and shook his head. No, you keep it. If I want to raise this kid I can't be smoking around her. Shikamaru smiled as he and Choji joined Ino and hugged Asuma. Hey, why don't we all head out for barbecue, like old times? All the members of Team 10 nodded as they walked out of Kurenai's home. Just before Asuma walked out the door, Kurenai pulled him in for a long kiss. It's good to have you back, Kurenai said as she hugged Asuma's arm. It's good to be back, Asuma said as he held his child and the woman her loved close. Tsunade sat in a local bar as she stared down into her drink. Several empty bottles of sake lay in front of her. All the patrons in the bar avoided the Sanin as she sulked in her seat. Shizune watched her master with a frown. She had been doing this the past few days, she had been slipping back into her old habits. Just like she was before she became Hokage. Shizune wanted to help her master, but she knew there was little she could do. So she just watched as Tsunade gulped down another shot of sake. The liquid burned as it went down Tsunade's throat. It was a familiar and comforting feeling, it helped her forget all her worries. As Tsunade stared into her empty cup her thoughts drifted to Jiraiya, and a few tears escaped her eyes. Why did you have to leave me too, you old pervert? Tsunade mumbled as she laid her head down on her arms. I didn't know you'd miss me, Haim. Hey, I must be really drunk, I'm even hearing the old bastard now. Tsunade mumbled into her arms. Kami, you're still as beautiful as ever, Haim. Okay, now this is getting annoying, Tsunade said as she lifted her head up. Tsunade-sama, Shizune exclaimed as she frantically gestured behind Tsunade. What is it, Shizune? Tsunade asked as she looked at her other apprentice. Turn around. Tsunade sighed and turned around in her seat. When she did her eyes bulged. She saw Jiraiya standing there grinning at her. Hey Haim, did you miss me? What? How? Tsunade asked as she stood up from her seat and poked Jiraiya. This all the Gaki's doing. Naruto, thank you. Tsunade said before she pulled Jiraiya in for a hug. Jiraiya wrapped his arms around Tsunade and hugged her back. After a few moments though, Tsunade let out a growl. She pushed Jiraiya off her and slapped him across the face, sending him flying across the bar. Jiraiya rubbed the handprint on his face, as he watched Tsunade storm over to him. And now Harem, calm down. I don't feel like dying again. You bastard. You promised me you'd come back alive from that mission. Tsunade screamed as tears sprouted from her eyes. Do you have any idea how devastated Naruto was after he heard you had died? Tsunade's voice suddenly dropped to a mere whisper. Do you have any idea how lonely I've been since you've been gone? Jiraiya sighed as he stood up. He walked over to the crying Tsunade and hugged her again. He allowed her to cry into his chest for a few moments before he spoke. Shish Harem, I'm back now, and I promise I won't leave you alone again. Tsunade pulled back and looked into Jiraiya's eyes. You promise? Tsunade whispered as she lowered her gaze. Jiraiya cupped her chin and made her look him in the eyes. I promise, Jiraiya said with conviction as they stared into each other's eyes. They found themselves leaning forward. Suddenly Tsunade pressed her lips against Jiraiya's. It was a gentle kiss, but it showed all the care and love they held for one another. When Jiraiya broke the kiss, Tsunade had a dreamy look on her face. They stared into each other's eyes for a few more moments before Tsunade smiled. Well, you old pervert, why don't we go on a date? I think you've finally earned one. Jiraiya's eyes lit up when he heard this. Really, Harem? Yeah, come on, I know this great restaurant we can go to, Tsunade said as she grabbed Jiraiya's arm. Shizune, you're free to do whatever you want for a while. Shizune smiled as she watched her master leave with Jiraiya arm in arm. But now she had nothing to do. I wonder what Kakashi-kun is doing. Shizune thought as she stood up to go pay the Hokage a visit. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a great day.